An interesting match is presented between Gurgenidze against Mikhail Tal at the 24th Russian Chess Championship in 1956. In this match, Gurgenidze holds white while Mikhail Tal holds black. The game begins with Benoni Defense opening. White starts the game with pawn d4. Black answers by knight f6, pawn c4, black pawn c5. The white pawn doesn't accept the pawn offer and advances to d5. The black pawn e6 threatens the pawn. Knight c3, the black pawn captures the white pawn on d5. Pawn captures pawn, black pawn d6, knight f3, pawn g6, creating a spot for the bishop at the g7 square. Pawn e4 strengthens support for pawn, dark bishop g7. White like bishop e2, black is doing short castling. White do long castling, black rook e8 attempts to dominate the e-file and threatens the pawn 2 times. Knight jumps to d2, strengthening the pawn, dark knight a6. Rook e1, knight c7 threatens a pawn. Pawn a4 prepares to occupy the a5, black pawn b6. Blocks control the a5. Queen c2 strengthens the pawns and at the same time prepares to attack the king. The knight jumps to g4, a fork attack against the king's protective pawn. White pawn h3 to repel the knight, but here Mikhail Tal performs unexpected action. Instead of moving the knight to safety place, Tal choose to sacrifice his knight by capturing a pawn at f2. The black knight is so dangerous that there is no other choice but to eliminate it. The king captures the knight, and the black answers the queen h4. Check. King dodges to f1. Black dark bishop d4. The position of this dark black bishop is very strategic because with one move, 3 strategic goals are fulfilled. Controls the diagonal file, locks the king's move, and supports the queen to checkmate at f2. The white king cannot move, while other officers cannot protect the king. Only a knight jump to d1, avoiding the checkmate threat. Again, Tal acted unexpectedly. He made queen sacrifices by capturing pawns in h3, while making checkmate threats in h1. However, this sacrifice wasn't accepted by Gurgenidze. He moved his bright bishop to f3. Let's analyze this movement. If the queen is captured by a pawn, then the bright black bishop will catch the pawn. Checkmate. This black queen is like a delicious fruit but contains a very deadly poison. Therefore, this queen is not touched. The bright bishop's movement to f3 is an attempt to open the king escort to f2 if checked by the queen on h1, while also guarding g2's pawns. But Gurgenidze's guess is wrong. The queen doesn't do a check. Instead, it moves forward to h2. White blocks the bishop's support with a knight jump to a3, countered by pawn f5, preparing to advance to f4, threatening the knight. Another white knight jumps to c4, guarding the knight, not given a chance to rest to avoid attacks. The black pawn attacks the bishop by capturing the white pawn at e4. The bishop captures a pawn, hoping to be caught by the rook and then counterattacked by the white queen. But this move was already known to Tal, as if he doesn't want the white queen to move from its place. He puts a black bright bishop on the a6, pinning the knight. The bishop returns to f3. Rook slides to e5, threatening a pawn. Rook a3 strengthens escort to the knight. Black rook e8 adds attack. Dark bishop d2. The knight captures the pawn as well as pits the knight. The bishop captures the knight. In return, the rook captures the bishop. Note that this knight cannot move because if it moves, the king cannot be saved. The king tried to save himself by sacrificing g2's pawn and running to e2, but disasters happened. Instead of capturing the pawn, Black answered by eliminating the knight with the bishop. The rook catches the bishop while threatening to check. Black replies with the other bishop, eliminating the remaining knight. Check. The queen catches the bishop. Then the black queen catches the pawn. Check. King dodges to d1. The queen d2. Checkmate. Black's attacks made white defenseless and never once do a check. Such an amazing game.